Have you ever noticed that some of the strongest people are often the ones who spend the most time alone? Most people see being alone as something negative. They assume it means loneliness, rejection, or a lack of social skills. Society constantly tells us that happiness comes from being surrounded by people, staying busy, and always seeking connection. But what if that's completely wrong? What if being alone isn't a weakness at all? What if it's actually one of the biggest reasons Sigma men become mentally stronger than everyone else? This is where most people misunderstand the Sigma mindset. They see a man sitting alone at a coffee shop, walking by himself, or choosing a quiet weekend instead of a crowded party, and they immediately assume he's missing out on life. The truth is, he's doing the exact opposite. While everyone else is chasing attention, the Sigma is building discipline. While others are distracted by constant noise, he is developing focus. While people are looking for approval from the outside world, he is creating confidence from within. That's the difference. A Sigma doesn't become strong because he's alone. He becomes strong because of what he does while he's alone. Every hour of solitude becomes an opportunity to think more clearly, learn something new, control his emotions, and become a better version of himself. Instead of fearing silence, he uses it as a weapon for personal growth. In today's video, we're going to uncover why being alone makes Sigma men stronger, and by the end, you'll understand why solitude isn't something they escape from. It's one of the greatest advantages they have. 1. Solitude eliminates distractions. One of the biggest reasons being alone makes Sigma men stronger is that solitude removes distractions. Modern life is filled with endless interruptions. Phones vibrate every few minutes, social media competes for attention, and people constantly expect instant responses. Most individuals spend their entire day reacting to the world around them instead of focusing on what truly matters. A Sigma understands that focus is one of the greatest advantages a person can develop. That's why they intentionally create time away from the noise. When they're alone, they don't have to keep up with conversations that lead nowhere or spend energy trying to impress people who don't really matter. Instead, they invest that time in learning, planning, reading, exercising, or improving valuable skills. This habit gives them a major advantage over people who are constantly distracted. While others waste hours scrolling through social media or worrying about other people's opinions, the Sigma quietly works on becoming better than they were yesterday. Many people mistake this behavior for isolation, but they completely miss the point. A Sigma isn't avoiding life. They're removing the distractions that prevent growth. Every quiet hour becomes an opportunity to sharpen their mind, strengthen their discipline, and move closer to their goals. That's why solitude isn't empty time for a Sigma. It's productive time. It's where they build the habits, knowledge, and mental strength that most people never develop because they're too busy chasing constant stimulation. 2. Being alone builds emotional control. Another reason being alone makes Sigma men stronger is that solitude teaches emotional control. Most people spend their lives reacting to everything around them. A single negative comment can ruin their mood. A disagreement can consume their thoughts for days. They allow outside events to control their emotions because they've never learned how to control them themselves. A Sigma develops this ability through solitude. When you're alone, there's no one to comfort you every time something goes wrong. There's no crowd cheering you on or distracting you from your problems. You're forced to face your emotions honestly. At first, this can be uncomfortable, but over time, it becomes one of the greatest sources of personal growth. Instead of running away from disappointment, the Sigma learns from it. Instead of reacting with anger, he pauses and thinks. Instead of allowing fear to make decisions, he focuses on logic and self-control. This process creates emotional stability. While other people panic during difficult situations, the Sigma remains calm because he's already spent countless hours learning how to manage his own mind. People often think emotional strength comes naturally. The truth is that it comes through practice, reflection, and experience. Solitude provides all three. That's why a Sigma doesn't fear being alone. He knows every quiet moment is training his mind to become stronger, calmer, and more resilient than it was before. 3. Solitude creates unshakable confidence. One of the greatest gifts solitude gives a Sigma is genuine confidence. Most people build confidence through praise, attention, and approval. They feel good about themselves only when other people recognize their achievements. The problem with this type of confidence is that it disappears the moment the applause stops. A Sigma builds confidence differently. When he spends time alone, he learns to trust his own judgment. He begins solving problems without relying on constant advice. He makes difficult decisions without needing everyone's approval. Every challenge he overcomes alone becomes proof that he is capable of handling whatever life throws at him. This creates confidence that doesn't depend on popularity or validation. Over time, the Sigma stops worrying about fitting in. He no longer changes his personality just to make people like him. He understands that not everyone will agree with his choices, and he's completely comfortable with that. This quiet confidence often surprises others. The Sigma doesn't need to tell people how confident he is because his actions already demonstrate it. He speaks with certainty, remains calm under pressure, and doesn't panic when faced with criticism. The reason is simple. His confidence wasn't given to him by other people. He built it himself through discipline, experience, and countless hours spent alone improving his life. That's why solitude doesn't weaken a Sigma's confidence. It becomes the foundation that makes it almost impossible to shake. Asterisk 4. They discover their true purpose in silence. Another reason solitude makes Sigma men stronger is that silence gives them the opportunity to discover their true purpose. Most people move through life following expectations that were created by someone else. They choose careers because they're popular. They chase success because society tells them to. They follow paths they never stop to question. A Sigma takes a different approach. By spending time alone, he creates space to ask important questions. What kind of life do I actually want? What goals truly matter to me? What values am I willing to stand for, even if nobody else agrees? These questions require silence because the answers don't come from the outside world. They come from honest self-reflection. As the Sigma spends more time thinking deeply, he begins separating his own dreams from the expectations placed upon him by family, friends, or society. This gives his life a clear direction. While others constantly compare themselves to everyone around them, the Sigma focuses on his own journey. He stops competing for attention and starts competing with the person he was yesterday. Purpose gives meaning to discipline. It gives meaning to sacrifice. It gives meaning to every difficult decision along the way. That's why solitude is so valuable. It removes enough noise for a Sigma to finally hear the voice that matters most, his own. Asterisk 5. Solitude gives Sigma men an unfair advantage. The greatest reason solitude makes Sigma men stronger is because it gives them an advantage that most people never realize exists. While others spend years chasing approval, the Sigma spends those same years developing himself. While others become distracted by trends, arguments, and unnecessary drama, he quietly builds knowledge, discipline, emotional control, and confidence. These improvements aren't always visible immediately, but for a long time it may seem like nothing is happening. People might even underestimate him because they don't see the work taking place behind the scenes. But eventually, the results become impossible to ignore. The Sigma becomes more focused, more independent, more resilient, and better prepared for life's challenges than many of the people who once questioned his choices. This is why solitude becomes an unfair advantage. Every quiet day invested in growth creates a stronger future. Every distraction avoided creates more time for learning. Every difficult moment faced alone builds resilience that cannot be bought or borrowed. The Sigma understands that success is rarely built in front of an audience. It's built in private, through habits that nobody applauds and sacrifices that nobody notices. By the time the world finally sees the results, the Sigma has already spent years preparing for that moment. That's the real power of solitude. It doesn't simply change how a Sigma spends his time. It changes who he becomes. As you've seen throughout this video, being alone doesn't automatically make someone stronger. What makes Sigma men different is how they use that time. While many people see solitude as something to escape from, a Sigma sees it as an opportunity to grow, think clearly, strengthen their mind, and become more independent. They don't avoid people because they're afraid of them. They choose solitude because they've discovered that some of life's greatest lessons can only be learned when there's no one else around to influence their decisions. The truth is, anyone can feel confident when they're surrounded by support. But real strength is revealed when you're completely on your own and still choose to keep moving forward. Now I want to hear from you. Asterisk, do you think being alone makes a person stronger, or do you believe people need others to reach their full potential? Share your answer in the comments below. I read as many comments as I can, and I'd love to know what you think. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, don't forget to asterisk subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join this community for more videos about the Sigma mindset, psychology, self-discipline, and personal growth. Thank you for watching, stay focused, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video.